shame resilience. I want to talk about shame, the causes of shame, and also the difference between shame and guilt. Shame is probably one of the most painful negative emotions, because shame is the fear of not connecting. We as human beings, we are wired to be connected. We crave for connection. We want to belong. Sometimes we don't realize how important it is. Some of us try to live separate, detached from people. But it shows our hurt, our traumas, our fears of being rejected. Shame is the thought that I cannot be accepted as I am. I cannot be loved. I don't deserve to be connected. There is something wrong with me. There is something shameful that I need to hide. And whenever we make something that we think that might prevent people from loving us and connecting to us, that's when we feel shame. And sometimes we are all the time finding fault with ourselves. We are thinking constantly that we have messed up. We are so wary of our mistakes. We are so wary of blunders. We are always thinking, oh, I did something wrong. I shouldn't have said that. Oh, what are people going to think of me? Oh, they're going to reject me. They're not going to accept me. They're realizing how ridiculous I am, how weird I am. So we feel so vulnerable. We feel like people are all interested in looking and seeing our mistakes, and that's the only thing that they have to do in this world, is watching us and seeing how weird we are. So fear is, or shame is, the thought that we don't deserve to be connected because of our imperfections. And there's a difference, or some differences, between shame and guilt. Shame is self-evaluative. If you have listened to other messages of mine, I have talked about this difference between good and bad, and that some of us are so concerned about being good or bad, and it's unconscious sometimes, and we are not very aware of that. We want to be good. We want people to see and recognize that we are good because we want to be accepted by them. But when we mess up, or when we think you have messed up, then we think, I am bad. We evaluate ourselves. And you know that it's really very, very painful when we are always evaluating ourselves, even when we say that we are good, because if we can be good, we can be bad. On the other hand, the person who feels guilty doesn't evaluate himself or herself. He or she evaluates his behavior, what he has done, So I did something bad, but it doesn't mean that I am bad. I am not bad or good. I am enough. That's what I am. I am just enough. With shame comes also a concern about ourselves. Shame is focused on the self. As I said before, the person who feels shame is concerned that he or she doesn't deserve to be loved, that he doesn't deserve to be connected to others. So people are gonna reject me, they're gonna despise me, they're gonna hate me. They don't want to do anything with me forever because I'm such a bad person. On the other hand, guilt is focused on people and what we have done to them, how they are feeling. So with guilt comes the desire to make amends, to go there, to apologize, to acknowledge our mistakes, to seek forgiveness, and try to make amends, as I said. But for the people who feel shame, it's very hard to make amends, to apologize, because with apologizing comes the acknowledgement that I have done something bad, and that's so terrible for someone who feels shame. That's almost or maybe unbearable, because then comes the thought that I am bad. If I apologize to you, if I recognize what I have done to you, you're not gonna love me. You're gonna reject me. I will be ostracized. I will be alone. I will be abandoned. And I cannot stand being alone. So it's very hard to take ownership. And that means that the person who feels ashamed, this person tries to hide their imperfections. This person tries to be someone who he or she thinks he's not. So he or she hides his imperfections, his mistakes, try to be this cool person, this nice person, perfect, the example, so that people are gonna love, accept, and connect with him or her. But think that when we try to hide this thing that we think is bad about ourselves, our mistakes, our imperfections, the things that we believe that we have, that people are not going to accept us as we are erasing a wall between us and people so they don't see us. And that is the opposite of vulnerability. And there is something that I used to say that our strength is our weakness. And what I mean by that, the thing is that we want to be connected to people. That is very important to us. And we think wrongly that we cannot be connected to people if they see our imperfections. So we raise this wall between us and people so they don't see our mistakes, they don't see our imperfections. We don't take ownership. We don't want to be vulnerable. Now what happens? When we raise this wall, we cannot connect. We cannot connect if we are not vulnerable. We are preventing people from getting to us, from knowing us as we are. And then we are not connecting. So, when we hide our imperfections so people can accept us, that's exactly when we are not connecting with them, when we are preventing them to connecting with us. And that's what I said, that our strength is our weakness. We think that being strong or being perfect, showing off or showing up as someone who doesn't make mistakes, who doesn't have imperfections, so people are going to love us, we miss the point, because the beauty is in our vulnerability. That's where the courage is, to show up as we are. When we let people see us as we are, without fear of showing our humanity, that's the beauty. And that's when people really love us. It's very interesting that people like our vulnerability, as we like their vulnerability, because when they are open, when they accept themselves, when they have the courage to show up as they are, we love it. We love to see courage in people, to see vulnerability in them, to see that they are not afraid to be themselves. But we think that they don't love it in us as we love in them. So we think we need to hide. We are so afraid to show up as we are. We want to hide. I want to invite you now to be vulnerable, not to be afraid. Take your excuses away. Take your justifications. Don't try to be someone who you are not. Be yourself. Take ownership. Let people see you as you are. You're going to see that. You're going to connect more. Because people love you. They just want to get to you. They just want you to break these walls so they can connect to you.